So Wallet Hub put together a list of the top 10 areas in the entire country that first-time home buyers should purchase. And Orlando ranked number 5. And then a couple days later, CoStar put out an article coupled with Pods, the company that packs you up and moves you to different areas. And they talked about the top areas in the entire country where people were moving. Orlando went from number 9 all the way to number 3 in just 1 year. So even in 2023, people are moving here in droves. You might be wondering why, and I'm gonna tell you. Stay tuned. Throughout COVID, people were moving to Florida in droves, and it was because our state was open and it was affordable and there was things to do out in the sun while people were kind of going through a really tough time. And many people thought maybe once all that ended that we'd start seeing a slowdown in people moving here, or people would be leaving Florida, heading back to kind of wherever they came from, back home. And some of that is happening, but not nearly as much as people had anticipated. And so it's causing lots of other growing opportunities. So let's start there. So growth has been an interesting kind of thing here in Central Florida. New construction for real estate, but also new construction for commercial, new retail opportunities and small businesses popping up all over, which is really cool to see. But it's also kind of like a con at the same time because many people have to wait for homes to get built. They move to areas like Horizon West, which is where we live, and they're waiting for some of these things to finally come on board. And so it's definitely something that you need to invest in if you're moving to the area. Waiting for schools to get built, and all of these kind of things can be a con if you go into it with the wrong mindset. Now, if you go into it excited about what's coming, which I'm always excited about what's coming, then you're gonna have an amazing time. So let's do a little maybe state of the union on real estate, what's going on, because a year ago you had to write $20,000 over asking and you were going against 52 other offers and it just was kind of insane. But right now the market's pretty stable. It's still a seller's market. Average days on market is like 45 days, so it's a really strong seller's market. And you have new construction opportunities where some builders are willing to partner with you for down payment assistance and closing costs. And so it's a really good mix right now by being a seller because prices are still going up, but much slower, and being a buyer because you're not having to be so competitive. That being said, there's still not a ton of resale on the market. And so if you have a good budget and you're moving to the area and you're like, I'm ready to buy, you might not find the house that you're really in love with right away. And that's something to pay attention to. So let's talk about affordability. I know when people think Florida, for the longest time, it was like the affordable place to go, the affordable place to go on vacation, the affordable place to have a second home, whether you're living in the UK or Canada. It was just an affordable place to be. Now, affordability has started getting a little bit out of control in Orlando, right? It's still significantly cheaper than LA and DC and Chicago and a lot of the stuff in the Midwest, but it's definitely more expensive than it's ever been. And it really permeates through everything that we have here. But there's some good things about it as well. We have no state income tax. We have a 6 to 7%, depending on where you're at, sales tax. And we're starting to see employers start paying our people more and more. My hope is that as we kind of diversify through medical and tech and a little bit less on the hospitality, that affordability for everybody in Central Florida will continue to improve. Let's talk about stuff to do. My wife and I and our kids, we've lived here for 7 years. We moved here for Disney, and then we found Universal, and then we found the nature and the golf courses and the lakes and just kind of all the other things that are popping up to do. And there's never been more things to do in Orlando than there are today, with Epic Universe opening up at Universal, but there's really even more so than that. I think that as people are coming from all these different places around the country, they kind of saw that concept wherever they're at, the escape rooms or the different clubs that they're starting to open, the private nightclubs and things like that. They're starting to interject that more and more into Orlando. And so to me, every time I look up, there's something new to do. And that's one of the reasons I love living in Orlando. The last metric that both of these websites were looking at was quality of life. And it kind of blends in the real estate and the affordability and the jobs and the things to do. But when you think about quality of life, I think Florida in general is an amazing place to live. We're only 45 minutes on one side or 2 hours over to the oceans or the Gulf. You've got golf courses, beaches, lakes, theme parks, and just so much to do that's one of the reasons we love it. 12 months out of the year, I don't have to worry. I can go outside and have some fun. And to me, as a dad of 3, I want to make sure that we're constantly improving and just enjoying life. And so to me, Orlando crushes it on quality of life.
And about being outside, Ken, the vitamin D.
The vitamin D is where it's at. I used to be in Michigan. I used to have a little sad light in my office. It's like seasonal affective disorder, because in the winter, it's like 7 months out of the year, you're sad. But don't worry about that here in Florida. One of the other things that I love lately, because you'll see in the news talking about how Disney and Universal and the theme parks overall attractions are lower, there's less crowds. That's actually amazing. That's how it was when we first moved here. It wasn't body to body everywhere you went. And so to me, as things kind of start to chill out in Orlando, while there's a lot of people moving here, there's just not as this frenzy that there used to be. And to me, that adds to the quality of life and has made it even more enjoyable in 2023 than it was in 2022. So I know interest rates are a little crazy. They're over 6 for sure at this point, and depending on when you're listening to this, hopefully they've dropped, but who knows. But there's still people moving here in droves, regardless of what's going on, and that's continuing to have a really healthy effect on the Orlando area. It used to be that Orlando was very transient. You had people moving in and moving out very, very quickly. Now there's people moving, but it's a lot of times within Orlando, people moving in within Horizon West or within Winter Park, and I think that that just kind of shows our stickiness as a town as we continue to develop and mature as a metropolitan area. So if you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in Central Florida, my team and I, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. So reach out, info@positgroup.com, or call the number in the description. We'll see you guys on the next video.